Energy signature detected. Bearing 27 Mark IV. Science officer Kira Telvin's translucent fingers danced across the holographic display of the Xanthari vessel Starlight Seeker. Configuration unknown, but the power output. She paused, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with surprise. Captain, you need to see this. Captain Mimreld San drifted across the bridge on Gossamer antigrav fields, his species' characteristic grace enhanced by decades of Zerog adaptation. The readings on the display defied conventional logic, a quantum core signature larger than anything in their database, yet somehow familiar. Cross-reference with historical archives, Mrel ordered, his transparent skin revealing the accelerated flow of neural fluid through his synaptic pathways. The ship's AI complied instantly, projecting a series of classified files across the bridge's main viewport. The bridge crew fell silent as the match appeared. HS's Eternal Dawn, humanity's legendary supercarrier, lost 50 years ago during the last desperate days of the Consortium War. The vessel that had single-handedly evacuated New Terra while fighting off an entire Consortium battle fleet. The ship that had vanished with over 3,000 crew members and humanity's most advanced military technology. Confirm scanning accuracy, Mrel commanded, his voice steady despite the historic implications of their discovery. They had expected another routine survey mission in the Carina Nebula's outer rim. Instead, they'd stumbled upon the most significant military find in half a century. Kira's confirmation came with a burst of excited bioluminescence. Multiple scans verify. Captain. Energy signature matches quantum core specifications from the historical database. Hull configuration is an exact match for Eternal Dawn's classified blueprints. The ship appears to be. She paused again, running additional scans. It appears to be intact. The massive vessel hung in the void before them, its 2-kilometer length dwarfing their science vessel. Despite decades in space, its hull still gleamed with the distinctive dark blue-gray of human quantum-treated alloys. No signs of meteorite damage marked its surface. No evidence of battles or emergency repairs scared its elegant lines. "This is impossible," Lieutenant Vex whispered from the tactical station. The Consortium stripped every human military vessel they could find after the war. How could something this large remain hidden for so long? The answer came unexpectedly. As the Starlight Seeker drew closer, ancient defense systems aboard the Eternal Dawn hummed to life. Instead of raising shields or charging weapons, the carrier's external lights activated in a precise pattern. Encrypted quantum communications protocols, established during the secret human Xanthari alliance of the war years, began broadcasting on frequencies that hadn't been used in decades. It wasn't lost, Mrel realized, watching the carrier systems activate with deliberate precision. It was waiting. Warning alerts flashed across the bridge as the Eternal Dawn's quantum core powered up further, its energy signature becoming impossible to miss. Soon, every sensor array in the sector would detect its presence. The race to claim the supercarrier was about to begin. Send encrypted transmissions to both the Human Resistance Command and the Xanthari High Council, Mrel ordered, already anticipating the chaos this discovery would unleash. Priority 1 classification. Include full scan data and historical verification. As his crew rushed to comply, Mrel studied the magnificent vessel before them. The Eternal Dawn represented more than just a powerful warship. It was a symbol of humanity's golden age, when their technology and tactical innovations had made them a force that even the Consortium feared. Its reappearance would send shockwaves through the carefully maintained balance of power in the galaxy. Multiple ships entering the sector, Vex reported, his bioluminescence dimming with concern. Long-range sensors indicate Consortium energy signatures. They're moving fast. Mrel's decision was instant. Position our vessel between the approaching ships and the Eternal Dawn. Begin emergency data transmission to all human resistance frequencies. Whatever happens next, they need to know their legacy has returned. The supercarrier's lights continued their precise patterns, like a lighthouse guiding humanity's scattered children home. After 50 years of waiting in the void, The HSS Eternal Dawn had revealed itself. The galaxy was about to remember why humanity had once been feared among the stars. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the Eternal Dawn's massive docking bay, her breath visible in the recently pressurized air. The emergency lights cast long shadows across rows of pristine fighters, each bearing the distinctive insignia of humanity's pre-defeat military. Her team of human resistance fighters and Xanthari scientists moved cautiously through the cavernous space, their footsteps echoing in the artificial gravity. No signs of degradation on any of the equipment, reported Dr. Ash Rivera, running his scanner over the nearest fighter. The preservation systems are beyond anything we have today. These ships could probably launch right now. Sarah touched the cold metal of the fighter's hull, feeling a connection to the past that went beyond mere duty. Her grandfather had commanded this carrier, had somehow hidden it away as their civilization crumbled. Now, 50 years later, his final gambit was about to play out. Movement detected in central corridors, came the voice of Captain Rel through their comms. The Xanthari commander was coordinating from his ship, protecting them from the approaching consortium forces, power signatures increasing throughout the vessel. As if responding to his words, holographic displays flickered to life around them, bathing the bay in a soft blue glow. Battle data from humanity's last stand scrolled across the screens. Fleet movements, casualty reports, and tactical analyses from a war that had ended in their defeat. This way, Sarah directed, leading her team toward the bridge. The ship's layout matched the classified blueprints she'd studied for years, preparing for a moment she'd never truly believed would come. Every doorway opened at their approach, security systems acknowledging them without challenge. They reached the bridge's main entrance, its massive doors bearing the scars of what must have been a desperate last stand. As Sarah approached, a scanning beam swept over her from hidden emitters. "Genetic profile confirmed," announced a crisp voice, startling the team. "Welcome aboard, Commander Chen. Your grandfather expected you." The AI's avatar materialized before them, a sophisticated hologram in a naval officer's uniform. Its appearance was clearly modeled after Sarah's grandfather in his prime, though its movements held an inhuman precision. "You're still operational," Sarah breathed, recognizing the advanced AI system from classified reports. "Dawn Intelligence Alpha, correct?" "Affirmative," the AI replied. "Though the crew called me Dia, I've maintained this vessel in accordance with Captain Chen's final orders, awaiting the proper genetic key." It turned to face her directly. "You carry your grandfather's tactical intuition. I saw it in how you approached the ship." The bridge doors opened, revealing a command center that put their resistance vessels to shame. Every station was pristine, waiting for crew that had vanished decades ago. "The Cryobe," Sarah said, remembering her mission priorities. "We need to reach it before the consortium breaks through." 3 decks down, Dia confirmed. "The crew awaits. But first, there's something you need to see." Holographic screens activated across the bridge, displaying detailed schematics of technologies that had been lost in the defeat: quantum weaponry, phantom drive systems, and manufacturing capabilities that could turn the tide of any future conflict. "Your grandfather didn't just preserve a warship," Dia explained as Sarah's team stared in awe. "He preserved humanity's entire military-industrial complex in digital form. The Eternal Dawn isn't just a carrier. It's a mobile shipyard, a tactical database, and a training center all in one." A proximity alert blared through the ship. On the tactical display, Sarah watched consortium vessels engaging the Xanthari ships protecting them. "Multiple hostile contacts on approach," Rel reported, his voice tight with tension. "We can't hold them off much longer." "Time to wake up the crew," Sarah decided, moving toward the Cryobay access. "Dia, begin revival sequences for essential personnel. Dr. Rivera, start downloading those technical databases. The rest of you, secure vital systems." As her team dispersed to their tasks, Sarah paused at the bridge's main viewport. In the distance, energy weapons flashed as the Xanthari fought to buy them time. Her grandfather had planned this moment for half a century, preserving humanity's greatest achievements for a future generation. Now that future had arrived, and Sarah intended to make every second count. The cryobay's massive doors parted with a hiss of ancient hydraulics, revealing rows of pristine stasis pods stretching into the darkness. Sarah's breath caught as the automated systems activated, illuminating hundreds of faces frozen in time. The elite crew of humanity's greatest warship, preserved at the height of their abilities. Life support optimal in all pods, Dr. Rivera announced, checking his instruments. Cellular degradation minimal. These preservation protocols are incredible. A violent shudder ran through the ship as another explosion lit up the void outside. Captain Rel's voice crackled through their comms. Consortium Dreadnought just dropped out of hyperspace. We've lost 2 escort vessels. You need to move faster. Begin revival sequence for command staff and essential engineering personnel, Sarah ordered, moving to a specific pod marked with captain's insignia. Inside, a man who could have been her mirror image slept, unchanged by the decades. Captain James Chen, her grandfather, the man who had orchestrated the most elaborate strategic withdrawal in human history. Revival sequence initiated. Dia's hologram appeared beside her. But there's something else you need to see first. The AI's expression held an urgency that seemed too human for comfort. Your grandfather left a message specifically for this moment. A hidden panel in the wall slid open, revealing a quantum lock data core. As Sarah approached, a holographic recording sparked to life. Her grandfather, looking exactly as he did in the pod, wearing his formal uniform. Sarah, the recording began. If you're seeing this, then everything has gone according to plan. The Eternal Dawn isn't just a refuge or a weapon. It's the cornerstone of Operation Phoenix Dawn. He gestured, and schematics filled the air around him. The consortium thinks they stripped our technology, erased our military capability. They don't realize this ship contains everything we need to rebuild. The schematics expanded, showing manufacturing systems hidden throughout the carrier's massive frame. The Phantom Drive was just the beginning. We developed technologies they never discovered, innovations they couldn't comprehend. Every deck of this ship holds another piece of the puzzle. More explosions rocked the vessel. On the tactical displays, the consortium fleet was pushing through the Zentheri defense line. Incoming transmission from the consortium dreadnought. Dia reported. They're demanding our surrender. Sarah ignored them, focused on her grandfather's message as he revealed compartment after compartment of hidden resources. The Eternal Dawn wasn't just a carrier. It was a seed ship designed to preserve and eventually regenerate humanity's entire military infrastructure. Neural upload process complete. One of the medical techs announced from the first open stasis pod. Commander Elizabeth Drake, the carrier's tactical officer, took her first breath in 50 years. Her eyes snapped open with military precision, immediately alert. Status report, Drake demanded, her voice strong despite decades of disuse. Consortium fleet incoming, Sarah replied, helping her from the pod. Zentheri allies holding them off, but not for long. We need your expertise with the ship's systems. Drake nodded, muscle memory taking over as she moved to a nearby console. Just like old times. Let's show them why they feared this ship. Throughout the cryobay, more pods were opening. Engineers, weapons officers, and fighter pilots emerged, each carrying decades of irreplaceable experience. Sarah watched in amazement as they instantly began coordinating, falling back into roles they'd last filled half a century ago. Multiple hull breaches detected, Dia warned. Consortium boarding parties attempting to penetrate decks 4 through 7. Perfect timing. Drake smiled, her fingers flying across the tactical station. Sarah, your grandfather and I developed contingency protocols for exactly this scenario. Dia, initiate defense pattern Phoenix 3. The ship's internal architecture began to shift, corridors sealing and rerouting. Hidden defense turrets emerged from the walls as the carrier's true capabilities awakened. They thought they defeated us, Drake said, her eyes gleaming with 50 years of stored vengeance. They never realized we were just gathering our strength. Sarah took her place at the command station, feeling the combined weight of past and present. The eternal dawn hummed with power around them, its systems reaching full capacity for the first time in decades. The real battle was about to begin. Quantum core at full capacity. Lieutenant Marcus Wong reported from the engineering station, his hands moving across controls he hadn't touched in 50 years with perfect precision. Phantom drive spooling up. Sarah watched the revived crew work alongside her resistance fighters, decades of experience melding with raw determination. Commander Drake had taken charge of tactical operations, coordinating with the Xanthari vessels, still protecting their position. Consortium boarding parties have breached Deck 7. Dia announced, the AI's hologram flickering between multiple locations as it managed ship systems. Security teams engaging, but they're pushing toward the auxiliary control center. Show me the Phantom drive status, Sarah ordered, remembering the classified files she'd studied about the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. The main view screen shifted, displaying a complex quantum matrix that even the Xanthari scientists on board were struggling to comprehend. The drive doesn't just move through space, Drake explained, her voice carrying the excitement of sharing a long-held secret. It phases the entire ship through quantum dimensions. We can essentially exist in multiple locations simultaneously, or nowhere at all. A massive impact rocked the carrier as the consortium dreadnought landed a direct hit. Shields holding at 80%, Wong reported. But we can't take many more hits like that. Time to show them what this ship can really do. Drake smiled, her fingers dancing across the tactical console. Sarah, your grandfather, and I developed combat protocols that were theoretical even for us. Ready to test them. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of command settle on her shoulders. All hands, prepare for Phantom drive engagement. Xanthari vessels, clear a 3 light-second radius around our position. The massive carrier hummed as energy coursed through systems that had lain dormant for half a century. On the tactical display, Sarah watched the consortium fleet advance, their formation designed to trap and disable what they assumed was a relic of a lost war. Phantom drive engage, Wong announced. Quantum matrix stable. We can execute on your mark. Sarah took a deep breath. Execute combat pattern Alpha 1. The universe seemed to blur around them. The eternal dawn didn't just vanish. It shattered into multiple quantum echoes, each one as solid as the original. The consortium fleet opened fire, but their weapons passed through phantom images, while the real carrier struck from impossible angles. This is incredible, Dr. Rivera breathed, watching the sensor data stream across his science station. The ship isn't teleporting or jumping. It's existing in quantum superposition, manifesting wherever probability allows. Commander Drake's hands flew across her console, coordinating their attacks with an artist's grace. Launch fighters from quantum points 3, 7, and 12. Let's show them what happens when you combine 50 years of theory with modern combat systems. Squadrons of fighters emerged from multiple quantum apertures around the carrier, their pilots, a mix of revived veterans and resistance fighters, adapting quickly to the revolutionary technology. The consortium fleet's rigid formation began to break as they found themselves under attack from all directions simultaneously. Incoming transmission from the consortium command ship, Dea reported. They're requesting a temporary ceasefire. They're scared, Drake observed, her eyes gleaming. They never imagined we preserved this level of technology. One carrier with phantom drive capabilities is worth an entire conventional fleet. Sarah studied the tactical display, watching as their fighters continued to emerge from quantum points across the battlefield. The eternal dawn had just changed the nature of space combat itself. But more importantly, it had given humanity's scattered forces something they'd lacked for 50 years. Hope. Signal the Xanthari vessels to form up on our position, she ordered. Download Phantom drive protocols to their ships. It's time we started sharing this technology with our allies. As the carrier phased between quantum states, its very existence defying conventional physics, Sarah saw her grandfather's true vision taking shape. The Eternal Dawn wasn't just a weapon from humanity's past. It was a bridge to their future, carrying the seeds of revolution in its impossible drives and awakened crew. The real war for humanity's independence was about to begin. The Consortium Dreadnought's captain appeared on the main view screen, his enhanced cybernetic features betraying no emotion. Surrender the vessel immediately. This technology belongs to the Consortium by right of conquest. Sarah stood from her command chair, facing the image of humanity's longtime oppressor. Behind her, both veteran and resistance crew worked in perfect synchronization, preparing for what would become their first true battle in half a century. This carrier and its technology, Sarah replied, her voice steady, belong to the people who created it. You've had 50 years to advance, yet you're still using the same tactical doctrines from the last war. We haven't been idle. She cut the transmission with a gesture. Commander Drake, initiate combat protocol Phoenix Strike. With pleasure, Drake's fingers danced across her console. All hands, battle stations, Phantom Drive coordinating with weapons grid. Fighter squadrons, prepare for quantum-shifted launch. The Eternal Dawn's massive hull thrummed with power as its revolutionary systems engage. On the tactical display, the Consortium fleet spread out in their standard assault formation, a mistake they were about to regret. Multiple quantum apertures stable, Lieutenant Wong reported from engineering. Ready for combat maneuvers. Sarah took a deep breath. Begin the symphony. The carrier split into 5 quantum echoes, each one capable of launching fighters and firing weapons. The Consortium fleet opened fire, their energy weapons passing harmlessly through 4 of the images, while the 5th appeared behind their lines. Launch fighters from positions 2 through 5, Drake ordered. Quantum shift missile batteries to targeting solutions Alpha through Delta. Squadrons of fighters emerged from seemingly impossible angles, their pilots executing maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. The Eternal Dawn's main weapons fired, each shot phasing through quantum space to strike from unexpected vectors. They're adapting, Dia warned, the AI's hologram analyzing enemy movements. Consortium vessels attempting to predict our quantum shift patterns. Then let's show them something new. Sarah smiled. Initiate Drake's gambit. Commander Drake's eyes lit up at the mention of her theoretical combat pattern. Executing now. All hands, prepare for full quantum dissolution. The carrier didn't just split into echoes. It dissolved into a cloud of quantum possibilities, existing everywhere and nowhere at once. Fighters launched from dozens of points simultaneously, while weapon strikes seemed to materialize inside enemy shields. Consortium fleet breaking formation, reported a resistance tactical officer. Their targeting systems can't lock onto our quantum signature. The battle transformed into an elaborate dance, with the Eternal Dawn conducting a symphony of destruction. Each movement was precise, calculated, yet impossible to predict. The carrier's revolutionary technology, combined with 50 years of theoretical battle planning, proved devastating against conventional tactics. Enemy dreadnought attempting emergency hyperspace jump, Dia announced. Not today, Drake countered, executing a series of commands. Quantum field extending. They're not going anywhere. The Phantom Drive's energy field expanded, preventing the Consortium vessels from escaping. One by one, their ships went dark as carefully placed quantum-shifted shots disabled their key systems. Incoming transmission from the Zenthari fleet, Dia reported. Their sensors are recording everything. The footage is already spreading across subspace channels. Sarah watched as the last Consortium vessel surrendered, their once mighty fleet reduced to drifting hulks by a single carrier. Broadcast on all frequencies, encoding for resistance cells across the galaxy. Show them what just happened here. The bridge crew worked efficiently to secure their victory. But Sarah noticed something else. The veterans and resistance fighters were exchanging looks of pride and mutual respect. The gap between past and present was closing, forged in the heat of battle. Status report, she ordered, returning to her command chair. All systems operating at optimal levels, Wong reported. Phantom drive ready for recharge. Fighter squadrons reporting minimal losses. The ship, he paused, smiling. She remembers how to fight. More than that, Drake added, studying the tactical data. We just revolutionized space combat. Every engagement from now on will be different. The consortium's entire military doctrine just became obsolete. Sarah nodded, watching as Xanthari vessels moved to secure their disabled opponents. The galaxy was about to change, and the eternal dawn had struck the first chord of a new era. The only question was, how would the consortium respond when they realized what they truly faced? Sarah stood before the quantum communications array, her grandfather's old command jacket now fitting perfectly over her shoulders. The massive array hummed with power, its capabilities far beyond anything the Resistance had possessed before discovering the eternal dawn. Broadcasting channels synchronized, Dia reported, the AI's hologram monitoring transmission frequencies. We're tapped into every hidden Resistance network, plus civilian channels across 47 sectors. The consortium's communications blockers won't stop this, Commander Drake added from her station. The quantum array bypasses conventional interference. Everyone will hear us. Sarah activated the ship's holographic recorders, knowing her next words would reach every human settlement, hidden base, and Resistance cell across known space. Behind her, the bridge crew, both veterans and Resistance fighters, stood at attention. To all who remember Earth, to all who carry the dream of freedom, this is Commander Sarah Chen broadcasting from the HSS Eternal Dawn. She paused, letting the legendary ship's name sink in. You've heard rumors. You've seen fragments of footage. Now hear the truth. We have returned. The quantum array pulsed, sending her image across the stars. For 50 years, the consortium told us we were beaten. They stripped our ships, banned our technology, and tried to erase our military heritage. But they didn't find everything. She gestured, and the broadcast showed footage from their recent battle. The Eternal Dawn's phantom drive technology in action. Fighters emerging from impossible angles, a consortium fleet brought to its knees by a single carrier. This ship carries more than weapons. It carries our legacy, our knowledge, and our future. The Eternal Dawn possesses manufacturing capabilities, tactical databases, and technologies the consortium never discovered. We're not just fighting back, we're rebuilding. Across the galaxy, the response was immediate. On the tactical display, Sarah watched as dormant transponder signals activated. Hidden Resistance bases, long silent, began broadcasting recognition codes. Supposedly peaceful human colonies revealed concealed shipyards and weapons caches. Multiple incoming transmissions, Dia announced, its processors struggling to categorize the flood of responses. Resistance cells activating from the Carina sector to the Outer Rim. Hidden fleets requesting coordination. Underground manufacturing facilities offering support. A new signal cut through the chaos. The Xanthari High Council, broadcasting on their highest diplomatic frequency. The Xanthari Confederation. Their spokesperson announced, bioluminescent patterns reflecting determination, formally recognizes the restored human defense force. Our shipyards, our biotechnology, and our fleets stand ready to support our longtime allies. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Sarah noticed Drake's thoughtful expression. Something wrong, Commander. The opposite, Drake smiled. Your grandfather's plan. It's even more brilliant than I realized. He didn't just preserve our military technology. He created a situation where its reveal would have maximum psychological impact. Understanding dawned. The Eternal Dawn wasn't just a weapon or a symbol. It was a catalyst, designed to turn 50 years of quiet preparation into a coordinated uprising. Incoming priority signal from New Mars colony, Dia reported. They're launching their hidden fleet. 7 carriers, 15 destroyers, all built in secret over the past decades. They're requesting phantom drive specifications. More signals poured in. Earth's scattered children were rising, revealing preparations 5 decades in the making. The consortium hadn't crushed humanity's spirit. They'd forced it to evolve, to become more resilient, more determined. Begin transmitting technical data packages to verified resistance cells, Sarah ordered. Priority to defensive systems and phantom drive integration. The consortium will respond with everything they have. We need to be ready. They're already mobilizing. Drake confirmed, studying long-range sensor data. Multiple battle fleets detected leaving their core systems. They'll try to crush this before it spreads further. Sarah squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of history and future converging. Let them come. Humanity isn't just awake. We're united. And this time, we know exactly what we're fighting for. The Eternal Dawn's quantum core pulsed with power, its energy signature visible across sectors like a beacon of hope. The galaxy was changing, revolution spreading at quantum speeds. The real war was about to begin. The Eternal Dawn's main manufacturing bay hummed with activity as automated systems constructed phantom drive components. Through the observation window, Sarah watched resistance ships dock one after another, each waiting for the revolutionary technology that would transform them into quantum-capable combat vessels. Production efficiency at 97%, Lieutenant Wong reported from his engineering station. The carrier's manufacturing capabilities exceed anything in our modern databases. We can upgrade an entire fleet in days instead of months. Commander Drake approached, her tactical display showing the movement of consortium battle groups. They're consolidating their forces, 3 main fleets converging on our position. They'll be here in less than 48 hours. Perfect timing. Sarah smiled, activating the ship-wide communications. All hands, prepare for Phase 2 implementation. Engineering teams to your assigned vessels. Combat instructors to the tactical simulation chambers. The carrier's massive internal spaces have been transformed into training facilities. Veteran crew members from the stasis pods worked alongside resistance fighters, sharing half a century of lost combat knowledge. In the fighter bays, pilots learned to navigate quantum-shifted space, their skills evolving with each simulation. Message from the Xanthari High Command. Dia announced, its holographic form displaying urgent data. Their biotech engineers have successfully integrated phantom drive systems with their organic hull technology. The synthesis is extraordinary. The tactical display showed a Xanthari cruiser phasing through quantum space, its living hull adapting to dimensional shifts in ways even the original designers hadn't imagined. The combination of human innovation and Xanthari biotechnology was creating entirely new possibilities. Multiple ships detecting consortium probe drones. Drake warned, they're trying to analyze our phantom drive signatures. Let them look, Sarah replied, remembering another of her grandfather's hidden protocols. Dia, initiate the Hydra protocol. The AI's expression showed rare surprise. Accessing encrypted databases. Hydra protocol authorized. Sarah, this is beyond anything we've implemented so far. The Eternal Dawn's quantum core pulsed with new energy patterns. Instead of splitting into multiple quantum echoes, the carrier began transmitting its technical specifications through secure channels to designated resistance shipyards across the galaxy. Your grandfather, Drake breathed, watching the data flow. He didn't just preserve our technology. He created a way to share it instantly, to rebuild our entire military infrastructure in days instead of years. Resistance vessels across multiple sectors began incorporating the transmitted designs. The carrier wasn't just a warship, it was a mobile industrial revolution, spreading humanity's lost technological advancement like a quantum virus. Consortium fleet accelerating, Dia reported. They've detected the technology transfer. All 3 main battle groups are now on an intercept course. Sarah moved to the command chair, feeling the ship respond to her presence. How many resistance vessels have been upgraded with phantom drive systems? 47 ships combat ready, Wong reported. Another 30 in final integration stages. The Xanthari have modified 12 of their organic cruisers, more joining every hour. The consortium thinks they're racing to crush a single carrier. Drake smiled, understanding dawning in her eyes. They don't realize they're already too late. The technology is spreading faster than they can respond. Sarah opened a channel to their growing fleet. All vessels, this is Commander Chen. The enemy believes they're coming to eliminate a relic, to erase the last trace of humanity's golden age. Instead, they're about to face the combined power of past and present. The tactical display showed their forces taking formation, restored human warships alongside Zentheri organic cruisers, resistance vessels upgraded with phantom drives flying in perfect coordination with veteran crews. Multiple signatures detected entering the system, Dia announced. Consortium Advance Fleet arriving ahead of schedule. Good, Sarah stood, her grandfather's jacket settling on her shoulders like armor. Let's show them what happens when you give humanity 50 years to prepare for round 2. The Eternal Dawn's phantom drive engaged, its quantum signature resonating with dozens of newly upgraded ships. Across the galaxy, more vessels were joining every minute, incorporating technology that had been preserved for half a century for exactly this moment. The real revolution wasn't the carrier's return. It was the rebirth of humanity's combined military might, evolved and adapted for a new age of warfare. The Carina Nebula blazed with weapons fire as 2 of the largest fleets in galactic history engaged in combat. The consortium's main battle group, over 300 ships strong, pressed forward with ruthless determination. Opposing them, the combined human Zentheri alliance displayed tactics that were rewriting the rules of space warfare. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Drake reported from Tactical, her hands dancing across the controls. All Alliance vessels coordinating phantom dry shifts. We're ready. Sarah stood on the Eternal Dawn's bridge, watching the battle unfold. The carrier had returned to where its journey began, now leading a force that represented humanity's past and future combined. All ships, execute Pattern Omega, she commanded. Show them what we've learned in 50 years of waiting. The Alliance fleet split into quantum echoes, each ship utilizing the phantom drive technology they'd inherited from the Eternal Dawn. But instead of acting independently, they moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum fields overlapping and reinforcing each other. Energy spike from the consortium flagship, Dia warned. They're deploying their new containment weapon. A massive pulse of energy erupted from the enemy fleet, designed to disrupt quantum fields and force ships back into normal space. But Sarah smiled, knowing what came next. Now, Lieutenant Wang. Executing quantum resonance protocol, Wang confirmed from engineering. Synchronizing fleet-wide phantom drives. Instead of fighting the containment field, the Alliance ships merged their quantum signatures. The Eternal Dawn led the symphony, its advanced AI coordinating hundreds of vessels in a dance of quantum mechanics that transformed the entire battlefield into a shifting maze of probability. Zentheri bioships responding perfectly, Drake reported with admiration. Their organic hulls are adapting to the quantum fluctuations, creating patterns even we didn't predict. The consortium fleet's rigid formation began to crumble as they faced warfare beyond their comprehension. Ships appeared and disappeared. Fighters struck from impossible angles, and even space itself seemed to ripple with quantum potential. Their flagship is attempting to coordinate a response, Dia announced. But they can't adapt fast enough to the combined tactical data we're sharing through the quantum network. Sarah opened a channel to the enemy command. To the consortium fleet, you spent 50 years believing you'd erased our capability for resistance. Instead, you gave us time to evolve. Surrender now. The response came in the form of desperate salvos of weapons fire, passing harmlessly through quantum echoes while Alliance ships struck from multiple dimensions simultaneously. Multiple consortium vessels going dark, Drake reported. Their crews are abandoning ship. The command and control structure is collapsing. Message from the Zentheri flagship, Dia added. Their organic computers have fully integrated with our quantum network. They're proposing new combat algorithms based on the synthesis of our technologies. Sarah watched as humanity's greatest adversary began to break apart, not just militarily but philosophically. The consortium's power had always been based on rigid control and suppression of innovation. They couldn't comprehend, let alone counter, the fluid adaptation they now faced. Consortium flagship signaling retreat, Wang announced. Their entire command staff is requesting immediate cessation of hostilities. The bridge crew held their breath as Sarah stood, her grandfather's jacket gleaming under the lights of victory. Signal all ships, she ordered. Accept their surrender, but make our terms clear. The era of consortium dominance is over. A new alliance is rising. As the weapons fire ceased and the quantum echoes stabilized, Sarah moved to the observation deck. The Eternal Dawn had fulfilled its purpose, not just as a carrier, but as a seed of revolution. Humanity hadn't just reclaimed its place among the stars, it had transcended its former limitations. Your grandfather would be proud, Drake said, joining her at the viewport. He didn't just preserve our past, he ensured we'd have a future. Not just us, Sarah replied, watching Xanthari organic ships phase gracefully through quantum space alongside human vessels. He helped us build something entirely new. The galaxy will never be the same. The Eternal Dawn's quantum core pulsed with energy, its signature echoing through space like a heartbeat of change. Humanity had returned to the stars not as conquered subjects seeking revenge, but as innovators ready to forge a new path forward. The dawn of a new era had truly begun.